Tharoor busts Congress ceasefire claim. Tharoor reveals no Trump role in truce.
If there was any persuasion by the American president or his senior officials, it would have been persuasion of the Pakistanis. They would have had to be persuaded. We don't need to be persuaded because we don't want war.
Congress netas corner government over mediation claim.
क्या आपने सीज़फायर में हाफिज सईद, अजहर मसूद, दाऊद इब्राहिम इन सबको वापस लाने की शर्त रखी या नहीं रखी? किन शर्तों पे सीज़फायर हुआ? ठोस बात करिए ना।
Tharoor rubs Congress the wrong way again. Congress versus Congress, top focus on 5 Live.
Hey, good evening and thank you for tuning in. You're watching 5 Live with me, Suesha Sound. Through the next 1 hour, we get you those stories that have become the biggest talking point this evening. And first up, we begin with the political storm over Operation Sindoor is far from getting over as Congress demands a special parliament session. Internal cracks that are only widening. From Kharge's attack on Prime Minister Modi to Tharoor's unexpected praise, the battle lines aren't just between parties, but within them. More on this in this next report.
The political storm over Operation Sindoor shows no signs of calming down. Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge has reignited the fire, demanding a special parliament session, accusing Prime Minister Narendra Modi of turning a military operation into a self-glorifying spectacle. But the fire is now within the Congress itself. Senior leader Salman Khurshid, member of a delegation that went abroad as part of India's global outreach, this week took a veiled dig at his own party, calling it distressing that some are more concerned about politics than patriotism. He even asked, is it so difficult to be patriotic? Another Congress leader and delegation leader, Shashi Tharoor, denied any US role in the ceasefire, contradicting both Donald Trump's claims and Congress's criticism.
No one needed to persuade us to stop. We had already said stop. So if there was any persuasion by the American president or his senior officials, it would have been persuasion of the Pakistanis. They would have had to be persuaded. We don't need to be persuaded because we don't want war.
The BJP has pounced, accusing Congress of undermining security forces and playing politics with national pride.
कांग्रेस का धर्म है, उनको अपोजिशन के तरह से व्यवहार करना चाहिए, लेकिन ये इतने बड़े विषय में मैं मान के चलता हूँ कि उनको गंभीरता रखना चाहिए। मल्लिकार्जुन बहुत वरिष्ठ नेता है कांग्रेस के।
With leaders like Tharoor isolated within the Congress for backing the government's claims abroad, the big question looms. Can Congress afford this internal war over Operation Sindoor? This political battle is far from over. Bureau Report, India Today.
And there you see how it is a divided opposition bloc that is coming in very clearly. Remember, it is time for the opposition to, I beg your pardon, for the all-party delegation to come back. And let me also tell you why the opposition politics is shaping up in the way that it is. Now, we see the kind of statements that are really coming in from both sides, and let me also take you through how this is spanning out. Remember, this is extremely crucial because, like I said, that the all-party delegation is now returning. How will the politics of the opposition shape up in the time to come is the important question. So, right, you've seen that Shashi Tharoor, after Prime Minister Modi and External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar has said that Trump did not mediate and India took its own decision, and if anybody needed mediation, it is Pakistan and not India. He said no one needed to persuade us to stop. It has entirely been India's decision. But on the other hand, you've seen how it is Jairam Ramesh and Rahul Gandhi in the Congress who also went on to question this. Similarly, Salman Khurshid has said that there was no mediation or interference by anyone, but Mallikarjun Kharge has said that the Prime Minister must clarify on Trump's claims and conditions of ceasefire. So that is something that the Congress continues to say, that the Prime Minister must end his silence. Now, similarly, Priyanka Chaturvedi from Sena UBT has said that we don't need any intervention to find a solution on Kashmir. But Sanjay Raut, in his statement today, has not just said that Tharoor has become a spokesperson of the BJP. He's also said that Trump pressured India to stop action against Pakistan. So like you see, it is two blocs within the opposition bloc that are now clearly emerging. One that the opposite side says is taking the side of the BJP and speaking in that voice. But they make it very clear that we are speaking in one voice because the country needs us, and whatever the political differences may be, we'll go home and sort it out. But on the other hand, how will this possibly shape out? Let me get more answers from my colleague Aishwarya Paliwal, who joins us from the national capital. Aishwarya, to really understand, how do you see this will shape up in the future? Because they are now coming back. Will they stand together on this issue? And we've also seen how the Congress and even the opposition bloc, for that matter of fact, have completely cornered those in the all-party delegation who are speaking for the BJP as they claim.
Well, Suresha, one of the most important figures, the one who actually has been in the headlines over the past many days, is Shashi Tharoor. Shashi Tharoor has gone abroad and defended the Indian government in Operation Sindoor. Now, the Bharatiya Janata Party, the BJP, believes that all those people who have now gone on the behalf of the government, on behalf of India, need to actually defend India on the global soil, because that's exactly what the government has also been saying, that we actually have been victims of terrorism, not just now, over the past many decades. So what do you expect us to do? India needs to retaliate, needs to give a befitting response to all those who are making sure that terrorism keeps on happening in India. So India gave a response, and on the global platform, you had all these people, the people who, the 7 teams that were sent abroad. So all of them put forth India's point. The opposition, however, and today also we saw how the opposition parties came on one platform and they said that they want a special parliamentary session. In fact, Shashi Tharoor is now being questioned by none other than the top Congress leaders, and they are saying Shashi Tharoor should have measured his words before speaking. So with regards to the opposition, you can expect a very stormy monsoon session. The opposition want governments to give more answers. The government believes it has done enough and more to give a response to Pakistan.
Well, Aishwarya, as far as the special parliament session that the opposition has been demanding, it seems like that is not going to happen. But point also is that, this is not just a fight that is restricted to the Congress only. Now it is becoming a bigger fight, or the wider rift within the opposition bloc itself. Because we've seen the kind of attack that even came in from Sanjay Raut against Shashi Tharoor. So all in all, this is the India bloc divide that is now getting stronger.
Well, stronger and out in the open, because it was the Congress party, it was Rahul Gandhi, Mallikarjun Kharge. They were amongst the first people who came out and said, wrote letters to Prime Minister Narendra Modi and said that we want a special session. Now you have the Aam Aadmi party saying that we will not be piggybacking the other opposition parties, quote unquote, the Congress party. They have a separate demand. So they'll be writing a separate letter. The Shiv Sena, UBT on the other side, also saying that they will also separately demand a session. So what you are seeing, Suesha, are the cracks that are now appearing in the opposition bloc. None of them are now unitedly saying that they want a session. All of them individually are now writing these letters. But you also rightly pointed out, Suesha, it seems highly unlikely that a special session will be called before the monsoon session, which will happen around 15th or 16th of July next month.
All right, Aishwarya, many thanks for getting us those details. Of course, we continue to track what will happen on this front. Meanwhile, we also talk about the biggest face-off in Washington, D.C. that is on the cards. That's right, an all-party delegation led by Congress MP Shashi Tharoor that will now head to the United States as part of its outreach following Operation Sindoor. Now, what makes this visit even more interesting is the fact that a Pakistani delegation led by Bilawal Bhutto will also be in the United States at the very same time. Tharoor has said that it is interesting that Pakistani delegation will be there almost on the same dates as them. He further assured that even though India's side might not be a central agenda for the American media, the delegation would get the message across very, very easily. Both the delegations are scheduled to meet the US lawmakers So far, Bilawal Bhutto has met Chinese delegation in DC, while Shashi Tharoor will also be giving interviews to the American press and will give a speech at the press club in Washington, DC.
It's no accident that the Pakistanis have also sent a delegation abroad, but they're not going to as many countries as the Indian delegations are. They're focusing on what they consider a few key capitals, namely Washington, Brussels, London. That seems to be the thrust of the Pakistani effort. There's going to be some, perhaps, increase in interest because of the fact there are two dueling delegations, as it were, in the same city.
Cutting across to Rahul Gautam joining us on the broadcast. Rahul Gautam, exactly how Shashi Tharoor put it, that it will be very interesting to watch what happens because these are two dueling delegations in the United States at the same time. But one thing is very clear, that India's message has gone out far and wide in the global community, and we have more countries on our side. That is one. Secondly, also, Shashi Tharoor has spoken about how Pakistan has not been able to put out its message to that extent. India has a packed schedule, a packed itinerary where back-to-back meetings are lined up as a part of what happens in the US for this delegation. Take us through it, while some would think of the face-off.
Well, first of all, we must tell our viewers that on the part of Pakistan to send, this multi-party delegation was an afterthought. And it was only decided, when India decided to send 7 multi-party delegations across the globe in more than 33 countries to put forward India's, stand and how India has been at the receiving end of Pakistan-sponsored terrorism. So, obviously, you can say that it was an original idea that was mooted here and was executed by Indian government. You rightly pointed out that on one hand you have 7 multi-party delegations led by people like Shashi Tharoor, somebody who has spent decades in United Nations, who is one of the most articulate voices when it comes to diplomatic affairs. Then you have Ravi Shankar Prasad, one of the legal experts who understand international laws and affairs. And then you have many other people who are good orators. Then you have 2 multi-party delegations coming in from Pakistan. One going to United States and the other one to Europe. So clearly, as far as the severity or the intensity is concerned, obviously the Indian attempt to spread out its message or to put forward its argument is much more serious than what Pakistan is now trying to copy us. Also, we must understand that, as we were hearing in soundbite of Shashi Tharoor also, we have already been able to penetrate into the global audience and have been able to propagate our stand and also been able to expose Pakistan in real sense on global platforms. And therefore, it hardly matters to us if these Pakistani delegations coming in led by Bilawal Bhutto, we all know that Hina Rabbani Khar, the former MEA Minister of Pakistan, all these people are part of that delegation. But given the fact that it is India's voice, which is actually resonating on various global platforms, is going to be absolutely almost impossible on the part of Pakistan to really counter the narrative which we have already been built, because we all know that how these delegations have already been going to various countries, almost every continent, 33 countries we've already touched upon. So as far as Pakistan's attempt is concerned, it clearly shows that it was an afterthought, and clearly they are trying to copy what we've been already able to achieve and execute by delivering our message.
Oh yes, that was the exact point that I was going to come to next, because Pakistan has been aping India at every step and been doing a rather bad job at it. But India extremely confident, saying that our message will go across very, very easily. Also, to really add, Rahul, that it is a packed schedule like we've discussed. And India is clear that war is not what we want. We want development, and we are only fighting terror.
Absolutely. And what we are learning, that Pakistan is allegedly going to speak about, allege India's aggression. Now, this is something which will be, pretty difficult for a Western country to digest, given the fact that everybody knows a track record of India and how India has been, contributing to United Nations, peacekeeping forces, and has been always been, up for dialogues between Ukraine and Russia, and has always been at the forefront in resolving global affairs, via dialogue. So obviously, what Pakistan is trying to do will certainly not be able to hold, water or ground, merely because of the fact that everybody knows that how India has been, been responsive to various global affairs. We must understand that, as I was telling you earlier also, we are almost at the culmination of this exercise, while Pakistanis are only beginning. So clearly, we have been already able to penetrate and already been able to, make our voices heard all across the world. We've been able to meet many important dignitaries all across the world, have already been able to put forward our India stand. So clearly, as far as Pakistan is concerned, it is an impossible task for them to pull off. And clearly, they also lack the kind of talent that we had in our delegations. Shashi Tharoor, Supriya Sule, Vijayan Jayapanda, all these people are very seasoned politicians and already been, have a track record, a decades-long track record in tackling these affairs. So clearly, as far as this issue is concerned, it is heavily favored in the, or tilted in India's favor.
Oh yes, absolutely. And we are very focused on that one, while many may ask if it could be a diplomatic showdown or a face-off. I want to thank you at the moment for getting us all those details. Of course, we keep coming back to you for further updates as we now shift our focus to the latest developments. Now remember, Rajasthan government employee who's been arrested for spying for Pakistan. Another man in Punjab, his name is Gagandeep Singh. He had contacts with Pakistan's ISI and Khalistani terrorist Gopal Singh Chawla. Now, they've also been arrested for sharing sensitive army movement details to Pakistan agents. The accused has allegedly shared critical information about army movements with agents across the border for years, including during Operation Sindoor. Officials claim that Gagandeep Singh leaked sensitive classified information, including details of troop deployments and strategic locations, posing a serious threat to national security. Now, according to the cops, the mobile phone that was recovered from him revealed critical information about the intelligence he shared with his Pakistani agents, and he had over 20 ISI contacts. Now remember that these are developments that are happening, especially the latest that has come in from Punjab, Rajasthan and Jammu and Kashmir. These are men who have been pinned down for passing critical information to Pakistan. Let me take a look at the screen. Now this man, Shakur Khan, who is an alleged spy, he has been held in Jaisalmer in Rajasthan. Again, the similar charges that have been pressed against him of how he was providing critical information. Similarly, in Kangra in Himachal is this man. His name is Amit Bhardwaj. You see his picture. He is also an alleged spy. Jyoti Malhotra, the entire country knows of her, how she was using her YouTube channel as a travel blogger. But what she was doing at the back of it was something entirely different. Arman, a man who's been caught in Nuh in Haryana, and his entire network has been busted. Similarly, Muhammad Ali, he's been caught in Jalandhar in Punjab. Now, all these people, some who were in touch with each other, some not, but they were in touch with ISI handlers. Shehzad, who was caught in Moradabad in UP. So you see the kind of nexus and how they have been held. Noman Ilahi, again a man, we've told you how he was caught in Kairana in UP. Ghazala, of course, we all know her story. She was promised that the man will get married to her, the ISI handler will get married to her. She has been held in Punjab, in Malarkota. Similarly, Yamin Muhammad, again an alleged spy who's been held in Malarkota in Punjab. The design was very clear. They were all being promised things to lure them to become Pakistani assets. Sukhpreet Singh, who was caught in Punjab. Karanbir Singh, another man who's been caught in Gurdaspur in Punjab. There you see in Amritsar in Punjab, Falak Sher Masi, an alleged spy. So all in all, there have been more than 15 arrests so far. Suraj Masi, who is again an alleged spy, he's been caught in Amritsar in Punjab. Some of their pictures that we have, and all of them who were primarily in touch with their ISI handlers. Now, some of them who were also passing on very critical information on Operation Sindoor, even when it came to the movement of our troops. Let me cut across to Arvind Ojha to get further details on how this spying has been busted so far, and more information that has been coming in of how big this nexus was, especially focus being on the arrests that have been made in Punjab, Rajasthan and Jammu and Kashmir, because some of them who were working in government offices, they were privy to inside information that they were passing on.
देखिए, ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के बाद ये इंडिया में जो आईएसआई के स्पाई हैं, इन पर बड़ा सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक हमारी एजेंसी का आप कह सकते हैं। और इसमें न सिर्फ यूपी, पंजाब, हरियाणा, राजस्थान, अदर स्टेट से जो आईएसआई के लिए स्पाई करते हैं उनको अरेस्ट किया गया है। जो फ्रेश अरेस्टिंग है वो आज मॉर्निंग में पंजाब के तरन तारण जो बॉर्डर एरिया है पंजाब और पाकिस्तान का, वहां से गगनदीप की हुई है। गगनदीप का जब मोबाइल सीज किया और उसका डेटा खंगाला गया तो उसमें पता चला कि गगनदीप 20 आईएसआई के एजेंट के कांटेक्ट में था और इसका हैंडलर पाकिस्तान में मौजूद जो खालिस्तानी टेररिस्ट है गोपाल सिंह चावला था। गोपाल सिंह चावला ने गगनदीप की आईएस के एजेंट से कनेक्टिविटी करवाई थी। तो फिलहाल इससे पूछताछ चल रही है। ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के दौरान इंडियन आर्मी की जो लोकेशन है, जो उनकी मूवमेंट है, उसकी जानकारी गगनदीप आईएसआई एजेंट को दे रहा था। अब ये समझने वाली बात है कि अचानक से इंडिया के अलग अलग स्टेट से अरेस्टिंग क्यों हो रही है। तो दरअसल ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के दौरान जो एजेंसी है वो काफी अलर्ट थी। उस दौरान कुछ नंबर जो बंद थे अचानक से वो एक्टिवेट हुए और पाकिस्तान की साइड से इंडिया में अलग अलग लोगों को फोन कॉल आने लगे। इंटरेस्टिंग बात इसमें यह है कि पाकिस्तान से जो फोन कॉल आ रहे थे वो इंडियन नंबर के ही थे, जिस पर एजेंसीज को शक हुआ और जो लोग इंडिया से पाकिस्तान बात कर रहे थे उनको इंटरोगेट किया गया, जिसके बाद एक चाहे ज्योति मल्होत्रा हो, गगनदीप हो, उसके अलावा जितने भी यूपी, राजस्थान, हरियाणा, पंजाब से जो अरेस्टिंग हुई है ये सारे आईएसआई एजेंट के कांटेक्ट में थे। दरअसल पाकिस्तान से जब कुछ लोग इंडिया जाते हैं तो आईएसआई के एजेंट उनसे एक्टिवेटेड इंडियन सिम मंगाते हैं और फिर वहां से उन इंडियन सिम के जरिए जो पीआईओ हैं, पाकिस्तान इंटेलिजेंस ऑपरेटिव, वो वहां से डीआरडीओ के साइंटिस्ट, जो इंडियन आर्मी के लोग हैं, जो सीआरपीएफ के लोग हैं, उनको कहीं ना कहीं ट्रैप करते हैं। अभी ये भी बता दूं कि कुछ दिन पहले सीआरपीएफ का एक एएसआई अरेस्ट हुआ है जो पहलगाम में जिसकी पोस्टिंग थी। उसके बारे में जानकारी मिली कि वो 2023 से आईएसआई के जो ऑपरेटिव हैं उनको इंफॉर्मेशन लीक कर रहा था। तो एक के बाद एक एजेंट वो अरेस्ट हो रहे हैं। आज जो पंजाब से गगनदीप सिंह अरेस्ट हुआ है तरन तारण इलाके से, उसका हैंडलर पाकिस्तान में मौजूद गोपाल सिंह चावला है जो खालिस्तानी टेररिस्ट है।
जी अरविंद, पर जैसा कि मैंने आपसे पूछा था कि इनमें से जो कुछ अरेस्ट हुए हैं वो उन लोगों के भी हैं जो गवर्नमेंट ऑफिसेज में काम कर रहे थे, जैसे कि जम्मू एंड कश्मीर में जिन्हें पकड़ा गया है, एक कांस्टेबल है, एक एजुकेशन स्टाफर है, एक टीचर है। साथ ही में बोला गया है कि इन्हें बहुत इंटरनल इन्फॉर्मेशन थी। बॉर्डर के पास जिन लोगों को पकड़ा गया है वो ऑपरेशन सिंदूर की भी इंफॉर्मेशन आगे अपने आईएसआई हैंडलर्स को दे रहे थे। तो पाकिस्तान का जो एक ये नेटवर्क है एसेट्स क्रिएट करने का, लार्जली इसको बस्ट किया गया है कि किस तरह से वो लोगों को आइडेंटिफाई कर रहे थे और उनसे अपना काम करवा रहे थे।
देखिए, इसके लिए पीआईओ ने, जो आईएसआई ने, एक बाकायदा कॉल सेंटर सेटअप किया हुआ है पाकिस्तान में, जिसमें कई लड़कियां भी काम करती हैं। वो इंडियन सिम का मोस्टली इस्तेमाल करती हैं। इंडियन सिम वो जो पाकिस्तान से इंडिया भेजा जाता है। जैसे एक एग्जाम्पल के तौर पर हरियाणा के मेवात से कासिम नाम के एक शख्स को अरेस्ट किया गया है। कासिम 2 बार पाकिस्तान जा चुका है। पहली बार जब वो ट्रिप पर गया पाकिस्तान तो आईएसआई के एजेंट ने उससे एक्टिवेटेड इंडियन सिम की डिमांड की। वो सिम पाकिस्तान जाते हैं, उसके बाद वहां से हनी ट्रैप किया जाता है कई बार, और जब एक बार कोई गवर्नमेंट का ऑफिशियल वो उसमें फंसता है तो फिर फंसता ही चला जाता है। उसके बाद फिर उनको पैसे भेजे जाते हैं। आज जम्मू कश्मीर में जो जम्मू कश्मीर के जो एलजी हैं, उन्होंने 2 गवर्नमेंट ऑफिशियल को नौकरी से बर्खास्त भी किया है। उसके अलावा अभी कुछ दिन पहले एनआईए ने सीआरपीएफ के एक एएसआई को भी पकड़ा था जिसकी पोस्टिंग पहलगाम में थी, जो वहां से सीआरपीएफ की जो मूवमेंट है जो वीवीआईपीज आते हैं उनके मूवमेंट की पूरी जानकारी आईएसआई को दे रहा था। तो दरअसल आईएसआई ने एक कॉल सेंटर सेटअप किया हुआ है, जिनका काम ही होता है इंडियन ऑफिशियल को, गवर्नमेंट ऑफिशियल को ट्रैप करना और उनसे इंफॉर्मेशन निकालना। लेकिन ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के दौरान इंडियन एजेंसीज, सेंट्रल एजेंसीज काफी ज्यादा एक्टिव थी। पाकिस्तान से जो भी कॉल आ रहे थे उनको इंटरसेप्ट किया जा रहा था, उसके बाद उनको वेरीफाई किया गया, उसके बाद बैक टू बैक राजस्थान के बॉर्डर एरिया से, पंजाब के बॉर्डर एरिया से, उसके अलावा ज्योति मल्होत्रा की आप बात कर लीजिए, इस तरह से बैक टू बैक अरेस्टिंग हुई है। तो यानी जो आईएसआई का एक स्पाई रिंग है जो फैला हुआ है, को बस्ट किया है सेंट्रल एजेंसी ने।
जी, Arvind Ojha, many thanks for getting us those details. And shifting focus as heavy rains continue to batter northeast states, the death toll that has now climbed further in 4 states. We get you details of how the ground situation is like right now. Kanpur area in Nagaon district that was submerged as Kopili River has overflown, flooding the area. The Kopili River in Nagaon and Moregaon is in a severe situation. SDRF has carried out evacuation drives in Dhemaji and Hailakandi districts. Meanwhile, in Dibrugarh in Assam, the overflowing Burhiding River that has triggered severe flooding, submerging roads and destroying vast areas of crops. Villagers are struggling with waterlogged homes and damaged infrastructure as local authorities assess the worsening situation. Meanwhile, the waters gushing through the breached embankment are steadily flooding Wangke, Tambaklong, northern side of Kongba, Shetri and the paddy fields in Imphal. Runoff flood waters from these places that have started flooding several houses. In fact, many of these areas in the state have already been facing devastating floods due to breaching of river embankments and overflow. The army continues rescue operations. Operation Jal Rahat 2, that the Indian Army and Assam Rifles have continued extensive rescue efforts across Imphal East and West, evacuating over 500 civilians from severely waterlogged areas. 10 flood relief columns equipped with boats and inflatable boats were deployed from rescue tasks. Troops also carried out emergency repairs on the breached Iril River boundary wall to prevent further flooding. Prime Minister Modi has spoken to Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma and Sikkim Chief Minister Prem Singh Tamang over the floods in Assam. In fact, the flood situation in the northeast that remains grim as incessant rainfall continues to cause mayhem across several states. The total death toll from floods and landslides triggered by the downpour over the past few days has now risen to 36. Over 5.5 lakh people who've been affected across the region. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi in these calls has assured all the support from the centre to those who've been suffering. A shocking case of anti-India hate that has come to light from Australia. A 42-year-old man of Indian origin in Adelaide suffered critical brain injuries and is in coma after police allegedly knelt on his neck during an attempted arrest. The video of the incident that shows the victim, whose name is Gaurav Kundi, he was being forced onto a road in Adelaide's eastern suburbs while he and the policeman knelt on his neck, even as his partner Amritpal Kaur loudly protested his innocence. The wife has recounted the details of the alleged arrest and she said that the police assaulted him and even banged his head against the police vehicle during the arrest. She further claimed that her plea to take him to the hospital was ignored and that Kundu was now in coma after sustaining severe brain damage. The Australian authorities, however, have claimed that Kundi allegedly violently resisted arrest when the police intervened after witnessing an altercation between him and his partner, and they've initiated a commissioner-level inquiry into the incident. But that's not what the wife has claimed. The wife has claimed that she kept pleading to the cops to take him for medical help, but all her pleas were ignored. And while this incident is a scathing reminder of what had happened with George Floyd in the United States, it is shameful because this is not the first time that an incident like this has been reported in Australia. There have been several anti-India hate incidents that have come to light. You would remember in November 2023 in Sydney, when an Indian origin student was assaulted, he suffered brain hemorrhage after what had happened. In July 2023, in Sydney again, when a 23-year-old Indian student who was beaten with rods, 4 or 5 assailants had attacked while he was en route work. In October 2023 itself, a man by the name of Shubham Garg, he was 28 years of age, he was stabbed multiple times in the face, in his chest, in his abdomen during a robbery. And why is it that we've seen such kind of racist attacks, anti-India hate attacks that have happened in Australia time and again? I want to bring in Jitarth Jay Bhardwaj. He's the founder and editor-in-chief of The Australia Today. He joins us on the broadcast. Jitarth, thank you for speaking to us. It is just shameful to what has happened with Gaurav Kundi. And just to imagine what the wife must have gone through at that time, because she kept pleading to the cops that it was their internal matter and he was not being violent in any which way, but the cops just charged on him. And even now, they continue to defend themselves. They say that he resisted their force and that is why they had to resort to an action like this.
See, I can tell you that it's a very unfortunate incident. Yes, the way police officers have handled it, it should have been handled better way. But definitely, I would like to say that it doesn't seem to be a racist motivated incident by the South Australia police. See, the police was there on patrol. We have to understand the sequences here. Police was there, the police car was patrolling the streets of Adelaide City, and they found a man and a woman on the street, and the man shoving and pushing the women. So they intervened and tried to talk to this gentleman without any aspirations that he was an Indian Australian or something. They tried to help the woman. Domestic violence is an issue in Australia. We lose almost 1 woman every week in Australia for 2 domestic violence incidents. So the police in a right manner intervened. However, after that what happened cannot be justified in any which way. So when they arrested him, this gentleman, as per the wife's statement, which she has told us that he was drunk and he had some precondition, could be any mental health issues or other issues which he was having. So he registered his arrest, tried to explain that this is my matter or whatever he did. And as we see in the footage, his head was banged into the van, police van, and then he was put down on the floor the way he was, which in my opinion was excessive. A police should have taken care of. And the way the knee was put on his neck, that was ultimately not acceptable, at least in Australian police manuals.
But Jitarth, I have 2 points here. Firstly, in this particular case, the wife kept on urging to the cops that she was not in trouble. Even when they tried to separate him from her, she kept on saying that they should not come on so harshly on him. After that, when he pressed his knee against his neck, against Gaurav's neck, the wife kept saying, please take him to the hospital. But that was ignored. And secondly, there have been incidents where Indians have been targeted in Australia. Even when the George Floyd case had happened, the world has seen the kind of movement that had taken place and how there were so many questions about the police using excessive force, especially when it comes to an individual from another nationality. How was the police not exercising restraint?
Okay, let me answer both the questions. Let's take the first one first. Yes, there is a kind of understanding that the violence of men against women is an issue, and they coerce females, their partners in most of the cases, so that even though women have been beaten in domestic violence situation, they kind of favor the partners when police arrive and say, though nothing has happened, he's all right, please leave him alone. And that's how I see this case also. When the women was pleading to the police that leave him alone, it's none of his fault, that's how, if I can give you some perspective, that's how police would have seen it. Now, come to the second point. The Premier of the South Australia came in support of police department. The commissioner 2 days back on Saturday said that he has full faith in his police force officers and all that stuff. However, let's fast forward it to Monday, when the new footage came into light. Then the same police commissioner has initiated a inquiry, internal inquiry, that what has happened, and he told the media that the earlier version of his understanding was based on the body cameras which he has seen, and nothing untoward was seen in those cameras. However, when we see a bird's eye view from the outside camera which was shot by the lady, then we can simply see that police action was aggressive. Inquiry will be held, and I can tell you, Indian Australian community in South Australia is really, really angry about it, and they are planning a protest there. I have talked to a number of community leaders. They have told that they have made a group to kind of help this lady and take this matter further on so that this kind of incident doesn't happen. The second question which you asked me was a number of previous incidences which have happened in Australia. I can tell you all of them have been covered by the Australia Today. However, except for two of them, no other case was racially motivated. They were thugs who had, these people were at the wrong time, at the wrong place, and they were a victim of crime on the street. However, I will not say that racially motivated actions doesn't happen in Australia. They do happen. There are systems here, and action hard, really difficult, stupid people are there. We have to save ourselves from them. But the action is taken. Police and authorities do act against them. It's not that if Indian Australians are left high and dry. That is not the case, I can assure you. But in this case, we all were very surprised that Premier came in support of the police officer. Probably has to bite his own words now after seeing this footage which has come out.
But this is exactly my point. Even if this particular incident wasn't racially motivated, how can excessive force by the cops possibly be justified? In this particular case, his wife is speaking for the husband. So it's not like she was at the receiving end. And also, given the fact that action needs to be taken against the cops, because I read some reports that also say that the man's life is in danger. Some doctors have also said that there is a possibility that his brain injuries he may not recover. He has 2 children. He may not get normal.
He is in critical condition. That's what we have been told. And yes, the situation is not very good for this family. I mean, they are going through a lot. That's what we understand right now. And as far as the action is concerned, I can assure you there have been a number of cases where police excessive force has been used, and strict action has been taken. In one of the cases, police officer has gone to jail. So if the inquiry finds out that police access force was not justified, then I can assure you there'll be really, really hard action on him. But right now, on Indian Australian community's behalf, they are reeling, they are angry, they are upset, and they want support for this family. That's what they are trying to. Right now it's 10 o'clock in the night. I can tell you just half an hour back also, there were a number of people who have gathered close to where the incident has happened, and they're working out strategies to find out some sort of solution, if we can call it.
All right, Jitartha, I want to thank you for speaking to us. Of course, we are hoping for stronger action from the Australian authorities, from the Australian police, and not mere words, because this aggression by the cops against what has happened to Gaurav Kundi cannot be justified. I want to thank you. And while a trade deal between India and the United States could be finalized soon as negotiations gain momentum following reciprocal tariff tensions, U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick has expressed optimism that both sides have found common ground. Meanwhile, India has said that both countries, despite of preferential market access to each other's businesses, and teams of both countries are working together on the proposed bilateral trade agreement. U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick has said that an agreement could be reached in the not-too-distant future. Lutnick highlighted concerns regarding India's tariff practices and its military procurement from Russia, but noted that the Indian government is actively addressing these issues. Meanwhile, Russia said it will complete the delivery of the remaining S-400 air defense systems to India by 2026. Russia also said that the S-400 performed very efficiently during the recent India-Pakistan tensions, reinforcing the strategic value of the missile system.
If you have the right person on the other side, and what happens is if they put a normal trade minister, it's an endless set of talking and no outcome, because they're used to saying this kind of deal will take 3 years, we'll get this done in 2 years. And that's not really fun for me. So the idea is when they put the right person, and India put the right person on the other side of the table, and we've managed, I think, to be in a very, very good place, and you should expect a deal between the United States and India in the not-too-distant future, because I think we found a place that really works for both countries.
प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी और राष्ट्रपति डोनाल्ड ट्रंप ने फरवरी में अपनी मुलाकात में निर्णय लिया था कि एक अच्छा बायलैटरल ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट जो दोनों देशों के हितों में हो, जिससे दोनों देशों के बीच बायलैटरल ट्रेड व्यापार हम लगभग $500 बिलियन तक बढ़ा सके, उसके लिए काम करेंगे और उसके लिए हम सब लगातार काम में जुटे हुए हैं और मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि आगे आने वाले दिनों में भारत अमेरिका के साथ भी और अलग अलग देशों के साथ अच्छे दोनों तरफ को लाभ देने वाले, दोनों तरफ की अपनी अपनी जो कंपैरेटिव स्ट्रेंथ्स है उसके आधार पर एग्रीमेंट्स करने के लिए सक्षम है.
Well, I think he was very positive about the India-US equation, the future of the two countries together. He talked about how Prime Minister Modi and President Trump are great friends, and that really helps in doing things together between the two nations. He also said that the trade deal should be announced soon. I thought that he sounded really positive about the Indo-US future together.
Today, the key takeaways from this important summit.
Well, I think you have to understand the relationship and the partnership between India and the US is in upward trajectories. Yes, you will have road bumps, but I think there's enough maturity on both sides to manage those. And what we are seeing in today's comments, that the relationship on a leadership level, business level, people-to-people level is moving in the positive direction. So we are very, very optimistic after this event that the momentum will continue.
And while Union Heavy Industries Minister H.D. Kumaraswamy stated that Tesla, a major player in the electric vehicle industry, was not interested in setting up a manufacturing facility in India, but was instead considering opening 2 stores in the country. He added that several global EV manufacturers, including Mercedes-Benz, Volkswagen, Skoda, Hyundai and Kia, had expressed interest in applying under the ministry's flagship scheme aimed at promoting the manufacturing of electric passenger cars in India, which had been notified in March the previous year. Now, according to India's EV scheme, approved applicants would be required to invest a minimum of 4,150 crore rupees to manufacture EVs domestically with specific domestic value addition targets. Indian government had made it clear that manufacturing within the country would be a prerequisite for selling EVs in India. Remember, US President Donald Trump in February had criticized Tesla's plans to expand operations in India, describing them as unfair to the United States. Trump reportedly stated that if Tesla's CEO Elon Musk built a factory in India, it would be unfair to the United States.
We are not actually expected from them. They have only to start 2 showrooms. They are not interested in manufacturing in India.
While United States Second Lady Usha Vance described her family's recent visit to India with Prime Minister Modi as special, highlighting their experiences including visiting the Taj Mahal, enjoying Indian cuisine and watching a puppet show. Her children were captivated by the culture. She described meeting with Prime Minister Modi as very special. She also described Prime Minister Modi as a very kind and generous person towards children.
Meeting the Prime Minister, that was really very special. We'd actually had a chance to meet him before. And it's funny, my kids saw him. They were sort of sleep deprived in Paris. And they saw an Indian man with a white beard and white hair, and they just put him in the grandfather category immediately. So they are very into him. They just love him. And he really cemented his status by giving our 5-year-old a birthday present that day. So when we were able to visit his home, they just sort of ran up, they were hugging him. He was just incredibly kind and generous to them. When we were at the Prime Minister's residence, our son was just so taken by everything, and then taken by the entire cart of mangoes that was available for him to eat, that he announced to the Prime Minister that he thought he could maybe live there, and started making his plans. Dialed that back a little when he remembered quite how hot he had been earlier in the day, but he just loved it. And our children, they talk about it all the time, actually. They've been all over the place, and they've had wonderful opportunities to see the world, but this was really special to them.